Solve an equation for a specified variable. We want x by itself in this problem. We must first move the subtraction over to this side and change it to plus. So 3x squared equals 4a plus 2y. We have multiplication by 3 against the x squared, so we need to divide both sides by 3. That cancels out. You're left with x squared on the left, and on the right you have 4a plus 2y equals 3. And then, to get rid of the square, we must square root both sides, leaving you with x equals the square root of 4a plus 2y over 3. Alright, for the bonus problem here, we're solving for b. But notice that you have b here on the bottom. To get that b off of the bottom, you would have to multiply both sides by b. When you do that, they cancel out on the left-hand side. But you still have a b on the right side, so it hasn't gone away completely. You're left with 2x plus y, and on the right side you'll have 3ab. To get the b by itself, you're going to have to divide both sides by 3a. The 3a's cancel out on the right, and you have 2x plus y equals 3a. And then b is on the right side by itself, which is what we wanted. So we're looking for y, and to get access to that y inside the parentheses, this quantity squared, we must divide both sides by 2 first, so that we can cancel this out and be left with the quantity squared of x minus y. And on the right, z plus 5 over 2. Now that the 2 is gone, we can start working on the parentheses, that quantity squared. We can find the square root of both sides. Notice how the square root symbol is tall enough to cover the left-hand side, top to bottom, of z plus 5 over 2. You don't just put it on the numerator. On the left, you're left with x minus y. On the right, you have the square root of z plus 5 over 2. Now we need to have y by itself so we can work on that x. That's really a plus x. So we're going to leave minus y here and keep what's on the right, but make it minus x. Notice the minus x is outside of the square root symbol. And then the last thing to do to get the y by itself is to divide by -1 to cancel out that negative sign. But when you divide by -1 on the right, you're changing the sign of everything, which means you have a negative square root of z plus 5 over 2 and then plus x. When you divide that right side by -1 and you change the sign of everything, it does not include everything that's under the square root sign, because this is one whole quantity, and that square root symbol protects this. So you just put the negative sign outside the square root symbol, and you change the sign of this minus. We are looking for y in this problem, but notice that we have a plus 1 over here on this side that must go over here. When we do that, we will have the quantity squared of 2x minus y left on the left-hand side, but I'm going to move this minus 1 over to the right. It's plus 1 on the left, it becomes minus 1 on the right. Remember what I told you before you started the problem. Anytime you have the opportunity to simplify, you must do it. So 3 minus 1 is going to be 2. Now we must undo the quantity squared by using the square root of both sides to get 2x minus y equals the square root of a plus 2. Now let's move the 2x over to the right side and make it minus 2x. But notice it is not under the square root symbol. And we'll now have to divide both sides by a -1. To do that, these cancel. You have a positive y equals a negative square root of a plus 2, and then plus 2x.